When comparing and ordering integers, you can use a number line and place those integers on that number line to decide which order they go in from least to greatest. So when I'm looking at these integers here, I see that I have 0, absolute value of -2, 4, -3, absolute value of 3, and then negative the absolute value of -1. I'm going to start with the 0 and I'm going to place that on my number line. So 0 goes right here. So I'm just going to draw a 0 and put a dot right there is fine. We have -2, the absolute value of -2. So when you are comparing and ordering these, that value is not -2. It's actually 2 because the absolute value of -2 is 2. So I'm going to put absolute value -2 right here because that falls right there. The next number is 4. That's a standard integer, so we're going to put that here. I'm going to write it here so that I can see it. -3, again, another standard integer, so that's going down here. -3. Absolute value of 3. Okay, so the absolute value of 3 is 3. It's that number's distance from 0, so that's actually up here. Absolute value of 3. And then I have negative the absolute value of -1. So then what that means is I want to take the opposite of the absolute value of -1. So you think about it as being the absolute value of -1, which is 1, but then take the opposite of that, or the negative of that, and that's actually -1. So negative absolute value of -1 falls down here. So now you can see the order in which these integers go. So if I'm going to rewrite it, it's going to be -3, negative absolute value of -1, 0, absolute value -2, absolute value of 3, and 4. We always put them back into their original format. So using that number line can really help. When we're just simply comparing by using the less than, the greater than, or the equal to sign, we have to look at the values and you have to decide, all right, well, in this first problem, you have a -3. It's just the standard integer -3. But then you have absolute value of -4. Well, everything tells me -3 is greater than -4 because it's, -3 is more to the right than -4. However, you need to evaluate the absolute value of -4. So that's just not -4. That value is actually 4. So if you're comparing -3 to absolute value -4, it is less than. -3 is less than it. Same concept here. Everything would tell me that 5 is greater than -5. However, we're not looking at 5 and -5. We're looking at 5 and the absolute value of -5, which is 5. So 5 is actually equal to 5. This last one, there's no absolute values. It's -6 compared to 8. A positive is always greater than a negative. Therefore, -6 is less than 8. So using a number line can help. Anytime you see those absolute value symbols, you have to remember that the value inside there is not what it actually equals 100% of the time. So you have to evaluate that first and then put them in order or compare.